Stocks hit all-time highs, and they're being held mostly by technology, semiconductors, and the NASDAQ as they hit records as well. This is good news. I'll explain why. We'll look at 4-hour chart and see what the 4-hour analysis looks like right now. The stocks from the Japanese markets also hit a record, so this is a worldwide stock rally that still continues. We'll look at gold versus the dollar interplay, which is the correct one right now. Very difficult situation. It could change literally by a movement of a few percentage points either way. And we will touch quickly on oil as it hit resistance after it hit support last week. All this and more in today's edition of MasterChartsTrading.com market recap for Friday, April 24th, 2026. I've been getting a lot of comments. Thank you again very much for that. I have, I believe, answered all of them. If I haven't answered all of the questions, please make another comment and ask another question if you have any. But even if you put thumbs up in the comment section, that's what makes this YouTube think that this is a important video. So please don't forget to do that. Make a comment, share, or like this video. Thank you. If you're a subscriber, stay tuned. We'll be covering some of the ETFs, some of the large cap stocks, and some of the speculative securities. New this week, for example, are Organon, NRX Pharma, and Etsy, I believe, and some of the other ones are about the same. All this and more, today's edition of MasterChartsTrading.com market recap. Throughout the presentation, I'll be using my proprietary MasterChartsTrading.com trading indicators, for which you can sign up by going to the link in the description. We are currently looking at S&P 500 as it just hit an all-time high today. So buying pressure is still quite strong. We still have an unfilled gap that does not seem like it wants to get filled anytime soon. And that's the gap between 7th, and 8th of April. It may or may not get filled. For example, these previous gaps never got filled. This was from over a year ago. Maybe one day in the future they will get filled, but not right this instant. So this is good news because this is showing strong buying pressure. And you know, we're basically going to continue monitoring the situation, but by and large, things seem to be normal, as you may, as weird as it may sound. The world is far from normal. I'm reading, you know, all kinds of scary news about, obviously, the war in Iran or the current fragile stalemate of a peace. But as far as stock market is concerned, it seems to be quite bullish. Of course, NASDAQ is a strong driver of this performance, also just hit records, but then NASDAQ has been hitting records actually pretty much every day since 15th of April, so it's been going pretty crazy. NASDAQ itself is being driven by the technology sector, XLK, so things like Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia. Nvidia, I believe, hit an all-time high. So all of those stocks are doing quite well, except for Microsoft. But by and large, XLK technology is driving the market higher. Not to mention semiconductors, SMH, also broke 2 new records before others. So on the 8th, or actually 9th of April, semiconductors were already at records before the rest of the stock market, and notice this giant move higher. Although right this instant, I think it's sort of overextended. There is this gap up. You know, things like this usually get filled. So there is a gap right here between 7th and 8th, but then there is another gap between 23rd and 24th. yesterday and today. So yeah, this is a little bit overextended, and I think a pullback is quite likely, but how deep of a pullback, we don't know. So we will just keep an open mind. And if you did buy semiconductors, latest alert was back in 2025. Notice that very nice move, and it went from 235 to about, it basically doubled, 235 to about 500. So very, very strong move from semiconductors, and obviously it's driving the markets higher. Additionally, throughout the world, there were several hits of the all-time highs. I believe Taiwan was one of them. South Korea, I believe, also recently hit records, and then of course Japan just hit an all-time high. So by and large, this is a worldwide rally. As far as Europe, it's pretty close. So we're pretty close. As far as Australia, also pretty close to records. So by and large, again, it's not a bad situation. Let's look at some of the Forex instruments. So for example, here is Euro. So I thought Euro will be going down right there on the 30th of March, 1st of April, 31st of March here. We almost broke through this support at the red line, but clearly have failed, and now we are moving higher again. So right this instant, I am still kind of ambivalent about the way things are going with the Forex markets. Euro seems to be in an uptrend. If we take a look at the dollar itself, dollar currency index, then it's the opposite. The dollar is in an uptrend, not euro. So the breakout occurred where I'm hovering right there on 30th of March. And so far, notice that we have been testing this red support resistance line. Notice we did this on 14th of April, 16th of April, 17th of April. So 3 times we tested this level, the support at the red line, and rallied off of it so far. So today, notice this candle is red indeed. So next week, I am fairly certain that we will again retest this red line. And if we break below this red line for the dollar currency index, then by extension, gold will benefit. So gold currently is at support, and technically speaking, we have another buy signal right there. Buy signals occur when security has a low below the blue line and then a close above the blue line. Again, you can find out more about that these lines by going to the link in the description. So yes, we're seeing a buy signal by gold. My biggest worry is the dollar. If the dollar strengthens, then gold will come under pressure. If the dollar does nothing, or at least, or like moves slightly down to sideways, then gold most likely will benefit, and maybe we'll see new records. Gold miners, similar situation. We're seeing basically a dip below the blue support resistance line, and then another signal that was on 31st of March, but then we kind of gave it all back. We're back towards the blue support resistance line, and again, indecisive because of the way dollar is acting. So again, dollar needs to be in a downtrend for me to be very sure that gold and gold miners are in an uptrend. And let's finish up today with oil. So oil currently, or rather last week, you can see that last week we have retested this red support resistance line at around $79. And I actually thought that this would be a very reasonable thing to do, because let me just show you what I mean. So this red candlestick right there on the 8th of April, I was fairly certain that it would need to be duplicated on the downside, and indeed we had that happen. So that's about 13% or about $14 move, and indeed we moved exactly that much to the downside, bounced off of the red line, and now we're again at resistance, or at the blue support resistance line. So technically speaking, we just had another buy signal from oil yesterday on the 23rd of April. If that's true, then we could see records. If something happens and we don't get a spike, we could move lower. But by and large, right this instant, oil is in an uptrend, so I would be reluctant to trade it down. I would be only thinking about buying it right now. And that's it for this week's recap. Head over to MasterChartsTrading.com, click on sign up for one of the products. So again, I have 2 products and 1 bundle. So trading indicators are these lines on the chart. Actually, one more thing I forgot to mention is the 4-hour chart. Let me briefly look over the 4-hour chart. So 4 hours, on the 4 hours, we saw a breakout on the 7th of April, a retest on the 12th of April, and pretty much non-stop highs after that. So that's what we're seeing on the 4-hour chart. The 4-hour chart does not show I don't see a pullback materializing right this instant because of this pattern. It looks kind of bullish. So like this upside down, like kind of cup and handle. So easily, just this little pattern. The depth of this pattern is about 100 points, so we most likely will at least retest around 7,300 sometime in the not so distant future. Okay, again, so head over to MasterChartsTrading.com, sign up for one of the products. So again, I have trading indicators. For example, on this chart, you can see that I'm trading on 4-hour chart. This is an intraday chart, and I'm using continuous security, US 500 from Capital.com, and you can easily trade this type of securities, continuous securities, using my indicators. If you don't want to use the intraday chart, you can use it on daily chart, and for example, here's oil, the same thoughts apply. If you just want my newsletter, I send out daily alerts and weekly members-only videos. So, for example, this week we'll be covering various ETFs, large cap stocks, as well as some speculative securities in that video. And then the best deal is to get both trading indicators and newsletters. And if you get a yearly deal, then you will only end up paying for 10 months instead of 12 months, because you get 2 months off for the yearly subscription. Of course, monthly subscriptions are also available, so sign up for that. Let me know if you have any questions. Please, again, don't forget to hit the like button, share this video, make a comment, even put thumbs up in the comment. Thank you for watching, and have another great trading week. Bye-bye.